and Ham by Dr. Seuss. I am Sam. I am Sam. Sam I am. That Sam I am. That Sam I am. I do not like that Sam I am. Do you like green eggs and ham? I do not like them, Sam I am. I do not like green eggs and ham. Would you like them here or there? I would not like them here or there. I would not like them anywhere. I do not like green eggs and ham. I do not like them, Sam I am. Would you like them in a house? Would you like them with a mouse? I do not like them in a house. I do not like them with a mouse. I do not like them here or there. I do not like them anywhere. I do not like green eggs and ham. I do not like them, Sam I am. Would you eat them in a box? Would you eat them with a fox? Not in a box, not with a fox, not in a house, not with a mouse. I would not eat them here or there. I would not eat them anywhere. I would not eat green eggs and ham. I do not like them, Sam I am. Would you, could you in a car? Eat them, here they are. I would not, could not in a car. You may like them, you will see. You may like them in a tree. I would not, could not in a tree, not in a car, you let me be. I do not like them in a box. I do not like them with a fox. I do not like them in a house. I do not like them with a mouse. I do not like them here or there. I do not like them anywhere. I do not like green eggs and ham. I do not like them, Sam I am. A train, a train, a train, a train. Could you, would you on a train? Not in a train, not in a tree, not in a car, Sam, let me be. I would not, could not in a box. I could not, would not with a fox. I will not eat them with a mouse. I will not eat them in a house. I will not eat them here or there. I will not eat them anywhere. I do not like green eggs and ham. I do not like them, Sam I am. Say, in the dark? Here in the dark? Would you, could you in the dark? I would not, could not in the dark. Would you, could you in the rain? I would not, could not in the rain. Not in the dark, not on a train, not in a car, not in a tree. I do not like them, Sam, you see. Not in a house, not in a box, not with a mouse, not with a fox. I will not eat them here or there. I do not like them anywhere. You do not like green eggs and ham? I do not like them, Sam I am. Could you, would you, with a goat? I would not, could not with a goat. Would you, could you on a boat? I could not, would not on a boat. I will not with a goat. I will not eat them in the rain. I will not eat them on a train. Not in the dark, not in a tree, not in a car. You let me be. I do not like them in a box. I do not like them with a fox. I will not eat them in a house. I do not like them with a mouse. I do not like them here or there. I do not like them anywhere. I do not like green eggs and ham.
I didn't like them, so I am.
You do not like them, so you say. Try them, and you may. Try them, and you may, I say. Sam, if you let me be, I will try them, you will see. Say, I like green eggs and ham, I do. I like them, Sam, I am. And I would eat them in a boat, and I would eat them with a goat. And I would eat them in the rain, and in the dark, and on a train, and in a car, and in a tree. They are so good, you see. So I will eat them in a box, and I will eat them with a fox. I will eat them in a house, and I will eat them with a mouse. And I will eat them here or there. Say, I will eat them anywhere. I do like green eggs and ham. Thank you, Sam I am. David's Father. Story by Robert Munch. Art by Michael Marchenko. Julie was skipping home from school. She came to a large moving van. A man came out carrying a spoon. Only it was as big as a shovel. Another man came out carrying a fork. Only it was as big as a pitchfork. A third man came out carrying a knife. But only it was as big as a flagpole. Yikes, said Julie. I don't want to get to know these people at all. She ran all the way home, hid under her bed till dinner time. The next day, Julie was skipping home from school again. A boy was standing where the moving van had been. He said, "Hi, my name's David. Would you like to come and play?" Julie looked at him very carefully. He seemed to be a regular sort of boy, so she stayed to play. At 5 o'clock, from far away down the street, someone called, "Julie, come and eat." "That's my mother," said Julie. Then someone called, "David!" "That's my father," said David. Julie jumped in the air, ran around in circles 3 times, ran home, and locked herself in the room till it was time for breakfast the next morning. The next day, Julie was skipping home, and she saw David again. He said, "Hi, Julie. Would you like to come and play?" Julie looked at him very, very carefully. He seemed to be a regular boy, so she stayed and played. When it was almost 5 o'clock, David said, "Julie, please stay for dinner." But Julie remembered the big knife, the big fork, and the big spoon. "Well, I don't know," she said. "Maybe it's a bad idea. I think maybe no. Goodbye, goodbye, goodbye." "Well," said David, "we're having cheeseburgers, chocolate milkshakes, and salad." "Oh," said Julie, "I love cheeseburgers. I'll stay. So they went into the kitchen. There was a small table with cheeseburgers, milkshakes, and salads. On the other side of the room, there was an enormous table. On it was a spoon as big as a shovel, a fork as big as a pitchfork, and a knife as big as a flagpole. "David," whispered Julie, "who sits there?" "Oh," said David, "that's where my father sits. You can hear him coming now." David's father sounded like this. He opened the door. David's father was a giant. On his table, there were 26 snails, 3 fried octopuses, and 16 bricks covered with chocolate sauce. David and Julie ate their cheeseburgers, and the father ate the snails. David and Julie drank their milkshakes, and the father ate the fried octopuses. David and Julie ate their salads, and the father ate his chocolate-covered bricks. David's father asked Julie if she would like a snail. Julie said no. David's father asked Julie if she would like an octopus. Julie said no. David's father asked Julie if she would like a delicious chocolate-covered brick. Julie said no. "But please, may I have another milkshake?" So David's father made her another milkshake. When they were done, Julie said very softly, so the father couldn't hear, "David, you don't look very much like your father." "Well, I'm adopted," said David. "Oh," said Julie. "Well, do you like your father?" "He's great," said David. "Come for a walk and see." So they walked down the street. Julie and David skipped, and the father went. They came to a road, and they couldn't get across. The cars would not stop for David. The cars would not stop for Julie. The father walked into the middle of the road, looked at the cars, and yelled, "Stop!" The cars all jumped up into the air, ran around in circles 3 times, and went back up the street so fast that they forgot their tires. David and Julie crossed the street and went into a store. The man who ran the store didn't like serving kids. They waited 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. Then David's father came in. He looked at the storekeeper and said, "These kids are my friends." The man jumped up into the air, ran around the store 3 times, and gave David and Julie 3 boxes of ice cream, 11 bags of potato chips, and 19 lifesavers, all for free. Julie and David walked down the street and went around the bend. There were 6 big kids from grade 8 standing in the middle of the sidewalk. They looked at David, they looked at Julie, and they looked at the food. Then one big kid reached down and grabbed a box of ice cream. David's father came around the bend. He looked at the big kids and yelled, "Beat it!" They jumped right out of their shirt, they jumped right out of their pants, and they ran down the street in their underwear. Julie ran after them, but she slipped and scraped her elbow. David's father picked her up and held her. Then he put a special giant bandage on her elbow. Julie said, "Well, David, you do have a nice father after all, but he's still kinda scary." "You think he's scary?" said David. "Wait till you meet my grandmother." Finding Christmas. Story by Robert Munch, illustrated by Michael Marchenko. Julie always found her Christmas presents. One year, she found them in the basement. One year, she found them in the bathroom. And one year, she found them in the garage. But this Christmas, Julie began to wonder if she was getting any presents from her family at all. She had looked and looked and looked and looked and found nothing. On Christmas Eve, Julie decided to give it one last try. She went down to the basement and pushed her way through spider webs. No presents. She went into the bathroom and pulled out all the towels. No presents. She went into her parents' bedroom and took all the clothes out of the drawers and all the clothes out of the closet. No presents. She moved everything out of the garage and looked underneath the car and behind a lawnmower. No presents. She called her friend who lived across the street and said, Denise, I have looked all over the house. There is nothing here. It is Christmas Eve and there are no presents. None at all. No presents. Denise said, Stop. I am looking over at your house and guess what I see on the roof? I know, said Julie. There is a Santa Claus with a sleigh. My mom and dad put that up this year. Isn't it neat? Yes, it is neat, said Denise. And what is in the back of the sleigh on top of your roof? A large box, said Julie. Yes, said Denise. And what do you think is in the box? Of course, said Julie. They hid the presents on the roof. So Julie went to bed early, and then very quietly she climbed up onto the roof. She opened the top of the box and looked in. The box was full of presents. Julie pulled herself up and fell in. The top closed and she could not get out. She yelled, Denise! But Denise had already gone to bed. Julie yelled, Daddy! But her dad was busy decorating the tree. She yelled, Mommy! But her mom was busy wrapping one last Christmas present for her dad. She yelled, Andrew! But her brother was putting out a plate of cookies for Santa. Julie even yelled, Taya! But her sister had gone to sleep on the couch. There was no way to get out, so Julie decided to take a nap. She laid down in the middle of the presents, wrapped herself in a blanket, and went to sleep. Very late that night, Julie's mom and dad went up onto the roof and got the box and took it inside. Ha, said Julie's dad. Julie never saw any Christmas presents this time. She doesn't know what she's getting. Yes, said her mom. We definitely fooled her this time. They reached in the box and brought out a bicycle. A great present for Andrew, said Julie's dad. They reached into the box and brought out some markers. A great present for Julie, said her mom. They reached into the box and brought out building blocks. A great present for Taya, said her dad. Then they reached into the box and brought out Julie, fast asleep. Look at this, said Julie's dad. It's a little girl. Who's getting a little girl? I didn't get anyone a little girl, said Julie's mom. I didn't get anyone a little girl, said Julie's mom. Well, it looks like a really nice little girl, and I want it for my Christmas present, said her dad. It looks like a really nice little girl to me, too. And I want it for my Christmas present, said her mom. No, said her dad. I saw it first, and it's going to be my present. No, said her mom. It's a girl, and I'm a girl, so it should belong to me. Then Julie woke up. Wait a minute, she said. I belong to you both. Right, said her mom and dad. Then they gave her kisses and hugs and wrapped her up and put her under the Christmas tree with a label that said, To Mommy and Daddy. On Christmas morning, Andrew and Taya found Julie all wrapped up under the tree. So Andrew wrapped himself up and went under the tree, and Taya wrapped herself up and went under the tree. When their parents finally woke up, the kids all yelled, Merry Christmas! And everyone agreed that it was the best Christmas ever. Mud Puddle, story by Robert Munch, art by Dusan Patricic. Julianne's mother bought her clean new clothes. Julianne put on a clean new shirt and buttoned it up at the front. She put on clean new pants and buttoned them up at the front. Then she walked outside and sat under the apple tree. Unfortunately, hiding up in the apple tree, there was a mud puddle. It saw Julianne sitting there and it jumped right on her head. She got completely all over muddy. Even her ears were full of mud. Julianne ran inside yelling, Mommy, a mud puddle jumped on me. Her mother picked her up, took off all her clothes, and dropped her into a tub of water. She scrubbed Julianne till she was red all over. She washed out her ears, she washed out her eyes, and she even washed out her mouth. Julianne put on a clean new shirt and buttoned it up at the front. She put on a clean new pants and buttoned them up at the front. Then she looked out the back door. She couldn't see a mud puddle anywhere, so she walked outside and sat down in her sandbox. The sandbox was next to the house, and hiding up on top of the house there was a mud puddle. It saw Julianne sitting down there, and it jumped right on her head. She got completely all over muddy. Even her nose was full of mud. Julianne ran inside yelling, "Mommy, Mommy, a mud puddle jumped on me." Julianne's mother picked her up, took off all her clothes, and dropped her into a tub of water. She scrubbed Julianne till she was red all over. She washed out her ears. She washed out her eyes. She washed out her mouth, and she even washed out her nose. Julianne put on a clean new shirt and buttoned it up at the front. Then she put on a clean new pants and buttoned them up at the front. Then she had an idea. She reached way back into the closet and got a big yellow raincoat. She put it on and walked outside. There was no puddle anywhere, so she yelled, "Hey, mud puddle!" Nothing happened, so she yelled even louder, "Hey, mud puddle!" Julianne was standing in the sunshine in her raincoat, getting very hot. She pulled back her hood. Nothing happened. She took off her raincoat, and as soon as she took off her raincoat, out from behind the doghouse, there came the mud puddle. It ran across the grass and jumped right on Julianne's head. She got completely all over muddy. Julianne ran inside yelling, "Mommy, Mommy, a mud puddle jumped on me." Her mother picked her up, took off all her clothes, and dropped her into a tub full of water. She scrubbed Julianne till she was red all over. She washed out her ears. She washed out her eyes. She washed out her mouth. She washed out her nose. And she even washed out her belly button. Julianne put on a clean new shirt and buttoned it up at the front. She put on a clean new pants and buttoned them up at the front. Then she sat by the back door because she was afraid to go outside. Then she had an idea. She reached up to the sink and took a bar of smelly yellow soap. She gave it a smell. Yuck! She took another bar of smelly yellow soap. She gave it a smell. Yuck! She put the smelly yellow soap in her pockets. Then she ran outside in the middle of the backyard and yelled, "Hey, mud puddle!" The mud puddle jumped over the fence and ran right towards her. Julianne threw a bar of soap right into the mud puddle's middle. The mud puddle stopped. Julianne threw another bar of soap right into the mud puddle. The mud puddle said, "Yuck, yuck, wuck." It ran across the grass, jumped over the fence, and never came back. Once There Was a Christmas Tree, story by Jerry Smath. "It's almost Christmas," said Mr. Bear, "and we still don't have a Christmas tree." "Don't worry," said her husband. "I'll find one." Mr. Bear took his saw and went deep into the woods. There he found the biggest tree he could carry and brought it home. Mr. Bear put the tree in the living room. "It's a beautiful Christmas tree," said his wife, "but it's much too tall." "I'll fix that," said her husband. With his saw, he cut the tree in half. Just then, Mrs. Bear looked out the window. She saw Mr. Fox pulling his son on a sled. They were going into the woods to look for a tree. "Why don't we give them the top of our tree?" she said. Mr. Bear agreed. So Mrs. Bear tied a big bow to the top of the Christmas tree and took it outside. "Yahoo, Mr. Fox!" called Mrs. Bear. "We took our tree and made it too. One half for us and one half for you." Mr. Fox was delighted. "Thank you so much," he said. "What a wonderful present." Mr. Fox put the tree on the sled. Then he and his son turned the sled around and pulled it home. Once the tree was up, the two foxes stood back to admire it. "It's the prettiest Christmas tree I've ever seen," said the little fox. His father thought so too. They were just about to decorate their tree when Mr. Fox thought of his friend Old Rabbit. "Old Rabbit lives all alone," he said, "and he doesn't have a tree this year." "Our tree is big," said his son. "Why don't we share it with him?" "Good idea," said Mr. Fox. So he took his saw and cut their tree in half. Together, Mr. Fox and his son took the top of their Christmas tree to Old Rabbit's house. When Old Rabbit opened the door, Mr. Fox and his son said, "We took our tree and made it two, one half for us and one half for you." Tears came to Old Rabbit's eyes when he saw their gift. "How kind of you both," he said. Old Rabbit brought the Christmas tree into his house and put it in his window. Next, he put a silver star on top of the tree. Then, one by one, he added the ornaments. Old Rabbit was almost done when, oops! One ornament that looked like a carrot bounced off the tree. It kept rolling until it stopped by a hole in the floor. "Thank goodness it didn't fall in," said Old Rabbit. "That was my favorite one." Just as Old Rabbit was about to pick up the ornament, it was pulled into the hole. Peeking down into the hole, he saw Mother Mouse and her 3 children. They were trying to eat the carrot ornament. "Don't eat that," he shouted. "It's made of wood." Old Rabbit saw that the Mouse family was hungry, so he invited them to dinner. Afterwards, Old Rabbit and Mother Mouse chatted and watched the children play. "It's nice to have friends," said Old Rabbit, smiling. It was getting late. Mother Mouse carried her sleepy children home and tucked them into bed. Old Rabbit went to bed too, but he could not sleep. When he looked at his pretty tree in the window, he knew why. "It's Christmas Eve," he thought. "The Mouse family should have a Christmas tree of their own." Old Rabbit went to the window and cut the top of his tree. Quietly, he tiptoed over to the hole and slipped the little tree into the Mouse's family room. "Merry Christmas," he whispered. "I took my tree and made it two, one half for me and one half for you." Then Old Rabbit tiptoed back to his bed and went to sleep. Once there was a Christmas tree, but sharing made it 4, and Santa Claus left presents under every one. Pajama Day. Story by Robert Munch, illustrated by Michael Marchenko. Andrew's old pajamas were full of holes, so his father took him to get new ones. They went to a store, and Andrew said, "Yuck, these pajamas do not feel right." They went to another store, and Andrew said, "Yuck, these pajamas do not smell right." They went to another store, and Andrew said, "Yuck, these pajamas do not taste right. I'll wear my old ones." His father took him to one more store. Way in the back was a rack that said, "Perfect Pajamas." Andrew looked at the pajamas and said, "All right, they look okay." He smelt the pajamas and said, "All right, they smell okay." He tasted the pajamas and said, "All right, they taste okay." So his father bought the pajamas. The next day was Pajama Day at school. Andrew put one foot into his new pajamas and yawned once. He put the other foot in and yawned twice. He put one arm in and his eyes closed. He put the other arm in and he fell fast asleep. This was very strange because it was only 9 o'clock. Andrew's teacher put him in the back of the room and said, "He'll wake up in a bit." Andrew slept until recess, and his teacher started to get worried. He slept until lunch, and the principal started to get worried. He slept all afternoon, and even the kids started to get worried. At the end of the day, the teacher called for a doctor. The doctor bunked Andrew on the knee, looked in his ears, and looked in his eyes. She said that he was fine, but Andrew was still asleep. Then Andrew's big sister came to walk him home from school. She said, "I'm going to call my mom." Andrew's mother took one look and said, "I see what's wrong. He's wearing perfect pajamas." She took Andrew's arm out of the pajamas and he yawned. She took his other arm out of the pajamas and he opened one eye just for a second. She took out one foot and he opened both his eyes. She took out the other foot and Andrew jumped up and said, "Is it recess yet?" The principal came in and said, "What is going on here?" "Look," said Andrew's mother, "it was perfect pajamas that made Andrew sleep." "These are perfect pajamas? That's crazy," said the principal. "I say there is no such thing as perfect pajamas, and I'm a principal, so I know everything twice." But just to be sure, the principal decided to try them out. The principal looked at the pajamas, and they looked okay. He smelled the pajamas, and they smelt okay. He tasted the pajamas, and they tasted okay. He put one foot in the pajamas, and he yawned. He put the other foot in the pajamas, and he yawned again. He put his arm in the pajamas, and he fell fast asleep. Andrew's mother carried the principal back to his office, and then she took Andrew home. Then Andrew's mom made him some real perfect pajamas. They kept Andrew as warm as toast, even on very cold nights. And they were really perfect because they only made Andrew go to sleep when he wanted to go to sleep. And the principal, he is still sleeping. Swamp Water. Story by Robert Munch, illustrated by Michael Marchenko. Victoria said her grandmother, "As my birthday present, I'm going to take you out for a special lunch." "Okay," said Victoria, "let's go." So they walked and walked and walked, and they came to a hamburger restaurant. "Hamburgers," said Victoria. "I love hamburgers, especially with cheese and pickles and ketchup and mustard and whatever else they have to put on it. Please, 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 please." "No," said Grandma. "We go to hamburger restaurants all the time. It's not special." So they walked and walked and walked, and they came to a chicken restaurant. "Chicken," said Victoria. "I love chicken. Chicken fingers and French fries. Please, 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 please." "No," said Grandma. "We go to chicken restaurants all the time. It's not special." So they walked and walked and walked, and they came to a taco restaurant. "Tacos," said Victoria. "I love tacos, especially with cheese and onions and lettuce and tomato and whatever else they have to put on it. Please, 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 please." "No," said Grandma. "We go to taco restaurants all the time. It's not special." So they walked and walked and walked and walked till they came to a very fancy restaurant. "What is this place?" said Victoria. "I never heard of it. They don't even advertise on TV. Are you sure I'm going to like it?" "Go inside and look out the back window," said Grandma. "Wow," said Victoria. "Ducks! Ducks in the river! This restaurant has ducks. I have never been to a restaurant with ducks before. Even hamburger restaurants do not have ducks. It is a wonderful restaurant," said Grandma. "I have been coming here since before you were born." "A duck restaurant? This is really neat," said Victoria. And a waiter came and said, "Would you like our fancy restaurant, fancy lunch?" "Yes," said Grandma. "No," said Victoria. "No," said the waiter. "Well, what would you like?" "I would like a hamburger," said Victoria. "Ah," said the waiter, "we do not have hamburgers." "Okay," said Victoria. "I would like chicken fingers and fries." "Ah," said the waiter, "we do not have chicken fingers and fries." "Then," said Victoria, "I would like tacos." "Ah," said the waiter, "we do not have tacos." Victoria thought for a minute and said, "I would like a peanut butter and jelly sandwich." "Oh," said the waiter, "we do not have peanut butter and jelly sandwiches." "No peanut butter and jelly sandwiches?" said Victoria. "No," said the waiter. "Definitely not." "Well," said Victoria, "do you have bread?" "Yes," said the waiter. "Do you have jelly?" "Yes," said the waiter. "Do you have peanut butter?" "Yes," said the waiter. "Then stick them together," said Victoria. "It's called a peanut butter and jelly sandwich." "No," said the waiter. Victoria ran into the kitchen and found the cook. "I'm here for a special lunch," she said. "Can you please make me a peanut butter and jelly sandwich?" "Peanut butter and jelly sandwiches are not on our fancy menu," said the cook. Victoria said, "Do you have bread?" "Yes," said the cook. "Do you have jelly?" "Yes," said the cook. "Do you have peanut butter?" "Yes," said the cook. "Well, stick them together," said Victoria. "It's called a peanut butter and jelly sandwich." "Okay," said the cook, "I'll make you a peanut butter and jelly sandwich." "Good," said Victoria. "And please cut it into little pieces. It has to be cut into very little pieces with no crust." "Okay," said the cook. Victoria went back to the table. The waiter came again and said, "And what would you like to drink?" "Tea," said Grandma. "I love tea." "How about our famous English breakfast tea?" said the waiter. "Lovely," said Grandma. "And I," said Victoria, "would like swamp water." "Swamp water!" yelled the waiter. "What is swamp water?" "It is very easy to make," said Victoria. "Just mix cola and ginger ale and root beer and orange soda and chocolate milk till it is the color of a swamp. And that is swamp water." "No!" yelled the waiter. "I want to see the cook," said Victoria. "Oh, all right," said the waiter. "We will make you swamp water." So Victoria looked at the ducks, and after a while, the waiter brought her swamp water and a peanut butter and jelly sandwich that was cut up into little pieces. Even the crust was cut off. "Wow," said Victoria, "this is perfect. Thank you very much." "You're welcome," said the waiter. Then Victoria opened the window and threw her sandwiches to the duck. "Ah!" yelled the waiter. "You can't feed your lunch to the ducks." "I just did feed my lunch to the ducks," said Victoria. "Thank you, Grandma," said Victoria. "This is a wonderful restaurant." "Yes," said Grandma. "Yes, it is a wonderful restaurant. It is a wonderful duck restaurant, and this is a special lunch, and I'm having a wonderful time." Then Grandma called the waiter and said, "My granddaughter would like 10 more fancy restaurant peanut butter sandwiches, please, and take off the crust. I do not think that the ducks like crust." And 10 more peanut butter sandwiches is what they got. Cookies. Story by Robert Munch, illustrated by Michael Marchenko. Christopher walked into the basement and saw a big pile of play clay in the corner. "Wow," said Christopher, "I love play clay." So he got himself a piece of red play clay and whopped it in his hands. Made it nice and round. Sprinkled it with sugar. Covered it with yellow icing. And put some raisins on top. Then Christopher went upstairs and said, "Mummy, look! Daddy made you a cookie." "Oh," said his mother, "that's so nice. I didn't even know he could cook." So she picked up that cookie and took a big bite and yelled, "Yuck! Plus! Play clay! Glah!" She ran into the bathroom and washed her mouth out for a long time. While his mother was washing out her mouth, Christopher got himself another piece of red play clay. He whopped it in his hands. Made it nice and round. Sprinkled it with sugar. Covered it with yellow icing. And put some raisins on top. Then he went upstairs to find his father. Christopher said, "Daddy, look! Mummy made you a cookie." "Oh," said his father, "that's so nice. It's been a long time since your mother made me cookies." So he picked up the cookie and took a big bite and yelled, "Yuck! Plus! Play clay! Glah!" That cookie tasted so bad he ran into the bathroom and washed out his mouth. By the time his father and mother came out of the bathroom, Christopher was late for school. So they called the teacher and said, "Christopher's giving people play clay cookies." "Don't worry," said the teacher. "I know just what to do." She got herself some red play clay and whopped it in her hands. Made it nice and round. Sprinkled it with sugar. Covered it with yellow icing. And put some raisins on top. Then she put the cookie on Christopher's chair. When Christopher came in, he said, "Look at this lovely cookie." He picked it up and took a big bite. And he yelled, "Yuck! Plus! Play clay! Glah!" The cookie tasted so bad he ran into the bathroom and washed out his mouth. When Christopher came back from the bathroom, the teacher said, "And now would everyone like to make some real cookies?" And the class yelled, "Yes!" And when Christopher was done with his cookie, he took it home to give to his mother and father. Mortimer. Story by Robert Munch. Art by Michael Marchenko. One night, Mortimer's mother took him upstairs to go to bed. When they got upstairs, Mortimer's mother opened the door to his room. She threw him into his bed and said, "Mortimer, be quiet." Mortimer shook his head yes. The mother shut the door, then she went back down the stairs. As soon as she got back downstairs, Mortimer sang, "Clang, clang, rattle, bing, bang, gonna make my noise all day. Clang, clang, rattle, bing, bang, gonna make my noise all day." Mortimer's father heard all that noise. He came up the stairs. He opened the door and yelled, "Mortimer, be quiet." Mortimer shook his head yes. The father went back down the stairs. As soon as he got to the bottom of the stairs, Mortimer sang, "Clang, clang, rattle, bing, bang, gonna make my noise all day. Clang, clang, rattle, bing, bang, gonna make my noise all day." All of Mortimer's 17 brothers and sisters heard that noise. They all came up the stairs. They opened the door and yelled in a tremendous loud voice, "Mortimer, be quiet!" Mortimer shook his head yes. The brothers and sisters shut the door and went back down the stairs. As soon as they got to the bottom of the stairs, Mortimer sang, "Clang, clang, rattle, bing, bang, gonna make my noise all day. Clang, clang, rattle, bing, bang, gonna make my noise all day." They got so upset they called the police. 2 policemen came and they walked very slowly up the stairs. They opened the door and said in a very deep police-type voice, "Mortimer, be quiet." The policemen shut the door and went back down the stairs. As soon as they got to the bottom of the stairs, Mortimer sang, "Clang, clang, rattle, bing, bang, gonna make my noise all day. Clang, clang, rattle, bing, bang, gonna make my noise all day." Well, downstairs, no one knew what to do. The mother got into a big fight with the policemen, and the father got into a big fight with the brothers and sisters. Upstairs, Mortimer got so tired of waiting for someone to come up that he fell asleep. Purple, Green, and Yellow. Story by Robert Munch. Art by Hélène Deputeau. Bridget went to her mother and said, "I need some coloring markers. All my friends have coloring markers. They draw wonderful pictures, Mummy. I need some coloring markers." "Oh, no," said her mother. "I've heard about those coloring markers. Kids draw on walls, they draw on the floor, they draw on themselves. You can't have coloring markers." "Well," said Bridget, "there are these new coloring markers. They wash off with just water. I can't get into any trouble with coloring markers that wash off. Get me some of those." "Well," said her mother, "all right." So her mother went out and got Bridget 500 washable coloring markers. Bridget went up to her room and drew wonderful pictures. She drew lemons that were yellower than lemons, and roses that were redder than roses, and oranges that were oranger than oranges. Her mother was amazed. She said, "Wow, my kid's an artist." But after a week, Bridget got bored. She went to her mother and said, "Mom, did I draw on the wall?" "No," said her mother. "Did I draw on the floor?" "No," said her mother. "Did I draw on myself?" "No," said her mother. "Well," said Bridget, "I didn't get into any trouble and I need some new coloring markers. All my friends have them. Mummy, they're coloring markers that smell. They have ones that smell like roses and lemons and oranges, and even one that smells like cow plop. Mom, they have coloring markers that smell like anything you want. Mom, I need those coloring markers." So her mom went out and got 500 coloring markers that smelled. Then Bridget went upstairs and she drew pictures. She drew lemons that smelt like lemons, and roses that smelt like roses, and oranges that smelt like oranges, and cow plop that smelt like cow plop. Her mother said, "Wow, my kid's an artist." But after a week, Bridget got bored. She said, "Mom, did I draw on the floor?" "No," said her mother. "Did I draw on the walls?" "No," said her mother. "Did I draw on myself?" "No," said her mother. "Well," said Bridget, "I need some new coloring markers. These are the best kind. All my friends have them. They are super indelible, never come off till you're dead, and maybe even later coloring markers. Mom, I need them." So her mother went out and got her 500 super indelible, never come off till you're dead, and maybe even later coloring markers. Bridget took them and drew pictures for 3 weeks. She drew lemons that looked better than lemons, roses that looked better than roses, and oranges that looked better than oranges, and sunsets that looked better than sunsets. Then she got bored. She said, "I'm tired of drawing on paper, but I'm not going to draw on the walls, and I'm not going to draw on the floor, and I'm not going to draw on myself. But everybody knows it's okay to color your fingernails. Even my mom colors her fingernails." So Bridget took the purple super indelible never come off till you're dead and maybe even later coloring marker, and she colored her thumbnail bright purple. And that was so pretty, she colored all her fingernails purple, black, and yellow. And that was so pretty, she colored her hands yellow, green, and red. And that was so pretty, she colored her face purple, green, yellow, and blue. And that was so pretty, she colored her belly button blue. And that was so pretty, she colored herself all sorts of colors almost entirely all over. Then Bridget looked in the mirror and said, "What have I done? My mom is gonna kill me." So she ran into the bathroom and washed her hands for half an hour. Nothing came off. Her hands still looked like a mixed rainbow. Then she had a wonderful idea. She reached way down into the bottom of the coloring markers and got a special coloring marker. It was the same color she was. She took that marker and colored herself all over until she was her regular color again. In fact, she looked even better than before, almost too good to be true. She went downstairs and her mother said, "Hey, Bridget, you're looking really good today." "Right," said Bridget. Then her mother said, "It's time to wash your hands for dinner." But Bridget was afraid that the special color would not stick to the colors underneath. So she said, "I already washed my hands." But her mother smelled her hands and said, "Ugh, no soap." She took Bridget into the bathroom and washed her hands and face. All the special color came off, and Bridget looked like a mixed-up rainbow. "Oh no," said her mother. "Bridget, did you color your hands with coloring markers that wash off?" "No." "Did you color your hands with the coloring marker that smell?" "No." "Did you use the super indelible never come off till you're dead and maybe even later coloring markers?" "Yes." "Yikes!" yelled her mother. She called the doctor and said, "Help! Help! Help! My daughter has colored herself with super indelible never come off till you're dead and maybe even later coloring markers." "Oh dear," said the doctor. "Sometimes they never come off." The doctor came over and gave Bridget a large orange pill. She said, "Take this pill, wait 5 minutes, and then take a bath." So Bridget took the pill, waited 5 minutes, and jumped into the bathtub. Her mother stood outside the door and yelled, "Is it working? Is it working?" "Yes," said Bridget, "everything is coming off." And Bridget was right. Everything had come off. When Bridget walked out the bathroom, she was invisible. "Oh no," yelled her mother. "You can't go to school if you're invisible. You can't go to university if you're invisible. You'll never get a job if you're invisible. Bridget, you've wrecked your life." "Don't worry," said Bridget. She ran into her room, got the special colored marker, and colored herself entirely all over until you couldn't tell the difference. In fact, she looked even better than before, almost too good to be true. But her mother said, "Bridget, You can't go through life like that. You're just a picture. Everyone will know that there's something wrong. No, they won't, said Bridget. Yes, they will, said her mother. No, they won't, said Bridget. I colored Daddy while he was taking a nap, and you haven't noticed anything yet. Good heavens, yelled her mother, and she ran into the living room and looked at Daddy. He looked even better than before, almost too good to be true. Doesn't he look great? Asked Bridget. I couldn't even tell the difference, said her mother. Right, said Bridget, and neither will he. As long as he doesn't get wet. The Always Team, The Search for Rider Nation. Written by Holly Preston and illustrated by Val Lawton. Ethan's parents said he was born in Saskatchewan. He always believed he'd been born in Rider Nation. The evidence was everywhere. Ethan had always wanted to play football. When he turned 7, he was finally old enough to play on the neighborhood team with Stevie, Rob, and JS. Old enough to ask, "Where is Rider Nation?" "You're a smart kid. Figure it out," said Rob, who already knew. So Ethan decided he would. Ethan knew just where to go for help. The search for Rider Nation had begun. "Just follow your rider pride," the big gopher said. Gordy and Toddy came along to help. The more eyes, the better on this mission to find a sign, any sign, that Rider Nation really existed. "Yes, it's here," said Ethan when they reached their first town. Gaynor just smiled. As always, Gordy and Toddy barked their approval. "Let's take our search to the skies," Ethan said next. "The land of living skies, spread out below them. It looks like it's here too," he said. As always, Gaynor agreed. Then a big Saskatchewan wind blew them far away. "I'm pretty sure Rider Nation is even here," Ethan said, as they landed with a big bump in the forest. "Time to ground this search," he added. Gordy and Toddy couldn't have agreed more, and they couldn't believe what they saw next. It's always good to be home, Gaynor thought. Suddenly, Gaynor said, "Follow that truck!" But before they could get any further, Ethan proclaimed, "It's time to set sail." The little team had covered a lot of ground on land, in the air, and on water. The signs of Rider Nation were everywhere, and they weren't finished yet. "It's always here," said a firefighter. "And you'll always find it here," said a doctor. "We always show our rider pride," said a baker. "And it tastes great," said Gaynor. "Rider Nation is always alive and well at our place," said a barber. Gaynor thought he should try a new hairstyle. "Rider Nation always shops here," said a lady at the grocery store. "Can I help?" a rider player asked. If you're searching for Rider Nation and you follow your rider pride, it will always bring you here. "This has been the easiest search ever," said a very excited Ethan. "Gaynor, now I know where the wheat grows, where the wind blows, and wherever the sky is blue. That's always Rider Nation to me and you." Rob, Stevie, and JS were eager to hear if Ethan had succeeded in his search for Rider Nation, and they could hardly wait to tell him. The adventure had just begun. The Fire Station. Story by Robert Munch. Art by Michael Marchenko. Sheila and Michael were walking down the street. Sheila said, "Michael, let's go into the fire station." She knocked on the door. When a firefighter came, Sheila said, "Could you show us the fire station?" So they went in and looked around. "Let's get into an enormous fire truck," said Sheila. Firefighters came running. Then they drove away. Michael and Sheila were still in the back seat. They came to an enormous fire. Yucky smoke colored Michael yellow, green, and blue. It colored Sheila purple, green, and yellow. When Michael got home, He knocked on the door. His mother opened it and said, "You can't come in and play with Michael. You're too dirty." Michael knocked again. He said, "I went to a fire in the back of a fire truck, and yucky smoke got all over me, and I wasn't even scared." Michael went inside and took a very long bath until he got all clean. Sheila came home and knocked on the door. Her father opened it and said, "You can't come in and play with Sheila. You're too dirty." Sheila knocked again. She said, "I went to a fire in the back of a fire truck and I got all smoky. I wasn't even scared." Sheila went inside and took a very, very long bath. Then Michael took Sheila on a walk past the police station. He told her, "If you ever take me to another fire truck, I'm going to call the police." "Police?" yelled Sheila. "Let's go look at a police car." Michael and Sheila got into the back. A police officer came running. She didn't even see Michael and Sheila in the back seat. She jumped into the car, turned on the sirens, and roared away. The Very Cranky Bear by Nick Bland. In the jingle jangle jungle on a cold and rainy day, 4 little friends found a perfect place to play. Moose had marvelous antlers, and Lion a golden mane. Zebra had fantastic stripes, and Sheep, well, Sheep was plain. None of them had noticed that someone else was there. Sleeping in that cave was a very cranky bear. Roar went that cranky bear. Roar, roar, roar. He gnashed his teeth and stomped his feet and chased them out the door. So in the jingle jangle jungle on a cold and rainy day, 4 little friends had nowhere warm to play. "Wait a minute," said Zebra as she scratched her furry chin. "Maybe if we cheer him up, he'll let us come back in." "If I did not have stripes," she said, "I'll be cranky too. We should give that bear some stripes. That's what we should do." "Stripes are silly," Moose complained, "especially on a bear. My antlers always cheer me up. Let's give the bear a pair." "No, no, 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 no," said Lion. "Antlers are a bore. A golden mane like mine," he said, "would cheer him up for sure." So Zebra fetched a tin of mud and Lion some grass of gold. Moose got 2 big branches, and Sheep was cold. Sheep was getting worried. They've been eaten up for sure. And then from in the cave, there came a very cranky roar. Zebra, Lion, Moose ran out, and Bear was right behind them. They hid behind the bushes where they hoped he wouldn't find them. "Why is he still cranky? He got antler, stripe, and mane. Before we gave him those, Lion said he looked so very plain." As Bear stormed back inside the cave, he turned and roared at Sheep. "All I really want," he said, "is a quiet place to sleep." So Sheep fetched a pair of clippers, and she clipped off half her wool. She stuffed it into a cotton bag until the bag was full. She tiptoed back inside the cave. "Excuse me, Bear," she said. "Would you like a pillow for underneath your head?"
Well, thank you very much, said Bear.
And soon fell asleep. Maybe he was dreaming of a plain but thoughtful sheep. Wait and See. Story by Robert Munch. Art by Michael Marchenko. On the day of Olivia's birthday, her mother made a big cake and said, "Make a wish and blow them out." Olivia really likes snow, and even though it was a warm summer day, she decided to wish for snow. She wanted it to be really deep, so she wished for snow, snow, and more snow. Then she took a deep breath and blew out the candles. Her father said, "Well, Olivia, what did you wish for?" Olivia said, "I wished for snow, snow, and more snow." "Now look next door," said her father. "You can't wish for snow. It's summertime. It doesn't snow in the summertime. This is not going to work." Olivia said, "Wait and see." When the party was over and the kids were ready to go home, they opened the front door. There was snow at the bottom of the door, snow at the middle of the door, and snow at the top of the door. The whole house was covered with snow. Olivia ran into the kitchen and yelled, "Mummy, Daddy, Mummy, Daddy, Mummy, Daddy! Snow, snow, and more snow!" The mother and father said, "Snow in the summertime? This kid is going totally nuts!" Then they opened the front door and yelled, "Ah!" "Olivia, you have to get rid of this. This is entirely too much snow." "Make me another birthday cake," said Olivia. So they made Olivia another birthday cake, and Olivia made a wish. Then she took a deep breath and blew out the candles. Right away, it started to rain. It rained, and it rained, and it washed all the snow away. "Good wish," said her father. "You wished for rain." It rained some more, and the front yard filled up with water. "How much rain did you wish for?" asked her mother. "Olivia," said her father, "did you wish one word?" "No," said Olivia. "Olivia," said her father, "did you wish 2 words?" "No," said Olivia. "Olivia," said her father, "did you wish 3 words?" "Yes," said Olivia, "I wish for rain, rain, and more rain." "Oh, no," yelled her mother. Both Olivia's parents ran into the kitchen and made another birthday cake and put candles on top. Then her mother said, "Now, Olivia, this time just wish for 1 word. Sunshine. That's all. Just sunshine." So that's what Olivia did. She wished for sunshine. Then she took a deep breath and blew out the candles. Right away, the sun came out. It got warm and all the water dried up. The mother and father went to the front yard and looked around. "This is more like it," said her mother. "Olivia wished for sunshine, just 1 word." Meanwhile, back in the house, Olivia had made another birthday cake. Then she took a deep breath and blew out the candles. The mother and father ran in and yelled, "Olivia, did you wish 1 word?" "No." "Did you wish 2 words?" "No." "Did you wish 3 words?" "Yes." "Oh, Olivia, what did you wish for?" "Well," said Olivia, "I wish for money, money, and more money." "Now look," said her father, "money is very hard stuff to get. You can't just wish for money just like that. It's not gonna work." Olivia said, "Wait and see." Just then, a large dump truck drove up and poured into Olivia's front yard an enormous pile of $100 bills. "Wow," said Olivia, "look at all my birthday money." Then she ran outside with a large garbage bag and started filling it with money. "You're too little to have all that money," said her father. "It belongs to me." And he came out with a bigger garbage bag. "Oh, no," said her mother. "I think Mummy should take care of this money." And she came out with an enormous garbage bag. The father and mother got into a big fight over the money. Olivia ran inside and said, "Wait a minute. I didn't mean for this money to cause an enormous fight. I'm going to make another birthday cake." So she made a cake, covered it with candles, and made a wish. Then she took a deep breath and blew out the candles. The mother and father heard her blowing out the candles and ran inside. "Olivia," said her father, "did you wish 3 words?" "No." "Did you wish 2 words?" "No." "Did you wish 1 word?" "Yes." "1 word," said her father. "Just 1 word?" "Well, that's 1 word," said her father. "Just 1 word? Well, that is probably all right. What was your wish?" "Well," said Olivia, "I wanted something to make me happy, something to keep me busy, something we all said we wanted, so I wished for a new baby." "Now, wait a minute," said her father. "You don't know how these things work. You can't just wish for a new baby just like that. It's not gonna work." "Wait and see," said Olivia. "I don't have to wait," said her mother. "When she wished for snow, she got snow. When she wished for rain, she got rain. When she wished for sunshine, she got sunshine. When she wished for money, she got money. Now she wished for a baby. I think we're going to have a baby." "This is crazy," said her father. "Olivia, take that wish back." "Okay," said Olivia. "I'll take back that wish. I don't really want a baby anyway." I want 3! We Share Everything by Robert Munch, illustrated by Michael Marchenko. On the very first day of school, when they didn't know what to do, Amanda and Jeremiah walked into the kindergarten classroom, and Amanda picked up a book. Jeremiah came over to her and said, "Give me that book." Amanda said, "No, I won't give you this book. I'm looking at this book." So Jeremiah tried what worked with his little brother. He said, "If you don't give me that book, I'm going to yell and scream." "Too bad," said Amanda. So Jeremiah opened his mouth really wide and screamed, "Ah!" Amanda stuck the book in his mouth. Blump! Jeremiah said, "Oh." The teacher came running over and said, "Now look, this is kindergarten. In kindergarten, we share. We share everything." Okay, said Amanda and Jeremiah. Jeremiah started to build a tower with blocks. Amanda came over and said, "Give me those blocks." "I won't give you those blocks," said Jeremiah. "I'm building a tower." So Amanda tried what worked with her older brother. She said, "If you don't give me those blocks, I'm going to kick them down." "Too bad," said Jeremiah. So Amanda kicked the blocks. Crash! Blocks went all over the floor. Amanda yelled, "Ow! Ouch! Ow! Ouch! Ow! Ouch! Ow! Ouch!" The teacher came running over and said, "Now look, this is kindergarten. In kindergarten, we share. We share everything." Okay, said Amanda and Jeremiah. Then Jeremiah and Amanda went to play with the paint. "I'm first," said Jeremiah. "No, I'm first," said Amanda. "If you don't let me go first," said Jeremiah, "I'm going to yell and scream." "Too bad," said Amanda. So Jeremiah and Amanda were both first. The paint went flying all over the room. Jeremiah yelled as loud as he could, "Ah!" The teacher and all the kids came running over and said, "Now look, this is kindergarten. In kindergarten, we share. We share everything." So Jeremiah looked at Amanda and said, "Okay, Amanda, we're supposed to share. What are we going to share?" "I don't know," said Amanda. Let's share our shoes." "Good idea," said Jeremiah. So they shared their shoes. And Jeremiah said, "Look at this, pink shoes, and they fit just right. My mom never gets me pink shoes. This is great. Let's share a shirt." So they shared their shirts. And Jeremiah said, "Look at this, a pink shirt. No other boy in kindergarten has a pink shirt." "Yes," said Amanda. "This is fun. Let's share our pants." So they shared their pants. "Wow," said Jeremiah. "Pink pants." The teacher came back and said, "Oh, Jeremiah and Amanda, you're sharing and you're learning how to act in kindergarten and you're being very grown up. And Jeremiah, I really like your pink pants." "Jeremiah, where did you get those pink pants?" "Oh," said Jeremiah, "it's okay. Amanda and I shared our clothes." The teacher yelled, "What have you done? Who said you could share clothes?" And all the kids said, "Now look, this is kindergarten. In kindergarten, we share. We share everything."